Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Cancer Cup and how you can improve your odds of being able to win the finals when you make it to that point. And so this is something I talked about a little bit earlier on, and this is an opportunity that they did not have on the Japanese side, but our accelerated schedule has given us for the Cancer Cup, at least for the finals. And that is that Summer Maruzensky will be dropping in time for you to build her and use her in the finals. So when I went over the schedule before, that was like the first thing I noticed immediately because I was thinking that could potentially happen with the acceleration, and that is the Cancer Cup ends on the 16th, but Summer Maruzensky drops on the 14th. And so this is going to give us time to actually build her for the finals. Now, it's very short amount of time because the big thing is the first round one is going to start on the 10th. The second round, or the second day of round one, is going to be on the 11th, and then round two on the 12th, the second day of round two on the 13th. The 14th is kind of that registration period time frame where that starts, and then the actual racing on the 15th. Now, with what the timeline is for when the Umas actually drop, I'm on Central Standard Time in the US, but they have 10 o'clock here, but I go by 5 p.m., so I'm 5 behind. But effectively, the reset is going to be, or when you basically have to lock in your finals team, is going to be 12 hours after Maruzensky drops. So when she drops, you're going to have, if you pulver her and get her, you're going to have exactly 12 hours to try and build a race-ready Maruzensky for it. And I want to kind of showcase why she's going to be very good for the finals and why it may be worth your time to try and get one built for the finals. Because if you've already thought Smart Falcon, if you've done test races with her, how broken she is on the finals, Maruzensky is going to be even better for it. And so the first thing we want to take a look at here is Maruzensky and what's going to make her really, really good. Now, we have the first negative. It's going to be very hard to build her. Unlike Seiyun Sky or like Silent Suzuka, who both come with one of the greens you need for groundwork, she does not. She does not have any greens to help her out, and she doesn't come with groundwork. So you're going to have to be able to get all three of the greens, or if you want to gamble, I guess focus, as well as groundwork on her just to be able to activate it, because that is still going to be required to win as a front runner on it, because it's massive. But after that, the big thing that's going to basically make her super strong is all tied to her ult. And so what it is increases velocity with an enthusiastic let's go when positioned towards the front in the second half of the race. So the second half, after recovering endurance with the skill. And so most people aren't bringing endurance skills because you don't really need it, but it's going to be key to her to trigger her ult. Now, we actually have the ability to predict when it's going to trigger because she comes built in with 777s, which always activates at 777 meters remaining. And this mile race just so happens to be 1600, which means the halfway point is 800, which means the last 777 meters is in the second half of the race. So if this one activates, she will trigger her ult. And so when we actually look at the race and kind of see how it's going to work out here, as you can see, it's basically right in the middle as we're getting into the final corner here. And so you can see it's barely a little bit longer here than it is down here. That's how you can know this is kind of just after the second half starts. But what makes it so big is when you actually look what it does when it activates her ult, is she gets a 0.35 speed increase. And this is after position keep has ended. So this is a point where they're still fighting for position. You may have seen this with Bakshin, some people who built Bakshin aces. Towards the end coming up here, a lot of times Bakshin, if she's in the right position, she can activate her ult, which is similar. That gives her an increase to speed to try and pass and take first place to activate Seiyun Sky's ult. Maruzensky has the same thing, but better, but not having to worry about positioning other than making sure she triggers the 777 recovery right here. As soon as he triggers it, she does her ult, and then she's just going to boost up her speed and push ahead, most likely taking first. Because right now the problem, what makes Smart Falcon so good is everybody's fighting for first place right up here. And then as soon as you get into the mid leg, if Smart Falcon even touches first place, she'll trigger her ult, and then push herself forward, and she basically establishes herself in first place. And then it's a lot harder for people to pass down this, and she usually, in a lot of cases, unless you have a really good setup that all works well, like my current one is kind of having like a tail held high setup to try and pass her, she's usually going to be in first if she can establish herself here with her ult, and that's why she's so strong. But Summer Maruzensky is the counter to it, because that big speed boost, and it is a massive one, it's a 5-second speed boost, and she's just going to push, and most likely, unless they have a massive gap on her, she's going to pass them right here, and it's going to very easily get her into first place. She'll get angling off and then take off and win. And the other nice thing is, if you're like me, when I build my Umas, I'll probably have, not only will I have that, but with my setup, I have a very good shot of also getting tail held high, because the ult can count towards a tail held high activation. Not only could her ult trigger, but it could potentially activate that and add an additional 0.15 speed to it for 3 seconds. And so, very, very strong build, and to me, it's going to be the meta pick for the finals. Now, you're only going to be able to make it for the finals, so you got to make it there first. Which, if you've built decent Umas with your groundwork and all that, and your front runners, or even late surgers, you should be able to get there. But then Summer Maruzensky is going to give you that edge, and it is something when I am streaming, I'm going to stream my polls, and then we're going to immediately start running to try and build her up. But I thought I'd just go ahead and make a quick video on it, because she's the closest thing to an Uma that can remove a bulk of the RNG. Because right now, there's only one Uma that really can avoid a lot of the RNG fight, and that's Smart Falcon, because Smart Falcon, all she has to do is get first. Just touch it, because a lot of times at this point, if there's no Smart Falcon, you kind of have some back and forth between the Umas as they fight for first place. And then one of them establishes themselves in first generally, and then unless you have a lot of mid legs that can push someone up in front, most of the time, in most of the practice races I've seen, very few times is anyone able to pass. Baksheen has been kind of the best one at it just because of her ult, but she has to get in the right position to do it. Most of the others can't do it, and then whoever is like first place at this point is going to be in first place here, and then they either win or the late surgers or whatever pass them if they're not strong enough on speed, especially when you have like a blocker or something. But Summer Maruzensky is the next one, just like Smart Falcon, that can reduce it to a good chunk, because all you have to do is have enough wit and not fail that wit check. You trigger 777, and you are guaranteed to get her ult off, and that should put her in the first. And so I thought I'd just make this a video real quick to let people know, because I know I had mentioned it in the past, but I hadn't really made a video on why it's so strong. And it's going to be your best case of trying to win this and reduce the RNG as much as possible. The nice thing is, because there's only 12 hours to build it, you're very, very likely, if you build a Summer Maruzensky, to be the only one that has one in the race. So that's the even better thing. You're not going to be competing against other Summer Maruzenskys, most likely. I mean, there's going to be other people that try and build them too, but very likely you'll be the only one with one. Unlike the Leo Cup, where when you go against frontrunners, you're probably going to run against Summer Maruzensky, because she's going to be a heavy pickup for a lot of people. So I thought I'd just go ahead and bring this up for anybody that wanted to know. If you have the time and the ability, I would, after you poll her, try and build her for the Cancer Cup, because she's going to be very strong for it. If you want to, we will be doing, after I get mine built, after I poll her and build her, hopefully I can build her fairly quickly, we will do practice runs for anyone that wants to see her in action, if they're kind of wanting to question on whether they want to work on it. Just know, you have a very limited amount of time to do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought I'd just go ahead and let people know that strategy that is what I will be doing for the finals. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.